Hey guys, I've got my January favorites for you, and I did a little something different this time. So if you're new to my channel, what I like to do is put on as many of the favorites for you so you can see them in action, and I just do, cutaways of me actually applying them as I'm talking about them. And usually I just sit here, in my filming setup here and apply the makeup, but I decided this time to actually apply it in front of my window. So I'm using natural light, so you're gonna get to see it in action in natural light, and then you can see it here, under like studio lighting. So I thought that would be fun, a little bit different, and a nice way to kick off 2021. So this is my first favorites of the year. We're talking about my January favorites, and I've got some makeup and I do have some fragrances. I had mentioned fragrances in my December favorites, and many of you really, really loved that I mentioned it, so I thought I would just continue with that trend. So why don't we go ahead and start with base products, because this past month has been like a banner month for face products, for base products. And I wanted to mention pretty much all of the ones that I tried over the past month. They were all really, really amazing, but I thought that really doesn't make for a great favorites video. And so I thought I would just talk about the two that I have been using the most. And the first one is the Pkwy Cushion Foundation. It is what I have on my face right now, and I will do a cutaway to me applying it in natural daylight. I've been using a beauty sponge to apply this cushion foundation. I just really like using sponges with cushion foundations. They just seem to like work with each other. Obviously you can use a brush with cushion foundation. Of course you can use the little sponge that always comes in a cushion foundation. I just happen to like using a beauty sponge. I wet it, I wring out as much of the water as I can, and then I just go in, dip, and then pounce on my face. I love this cushion foundation, and after I did this review video, I saw a lot of comments like, oh great, what's your favorite cushion? Or, which cushion would you go for, whatever. This right now is my favorite cushion. There's something very similar about this foundation to the Surratt Dewdrop foundation, and that is my favorite like liquid foundation. And they both have like a light, this actually has a little bit more coverage than the Surratt. So I would say this one has like a light medium. The Surratt has like a light coverage, but they both do something really, really amazing to help smooth and blur and filter out your skin that isn't coverage. The Pkwy Cushion and the Surratt Dewdrop, they both have almost like this light refracting action going on. So your skin looks really, really perfected without more pigment, without actual coverage. I don't particularly like high coverage foundations. It's not really my thing. It's not what I like to wear on a daily basis. These foundations are just a lot easier to me. They're just a lot lower maintenance. I put them on, light layer, goes on beautifully. I don't feel it on my skin. I really don't like foundations that I can feel on my skin either. So that's why I've been loving this cushion foundation. It really does something beautiful to my complexion without the heavy coverage. It really just makes it look very, very filtered. It was, as soon as I put it on the first time, I was like, what's going on with my skin? It was like I pounced it onto my cheek area, and you could see how all of a sudden everything just looked softened. That's what it was. My skin just looked really, really soft. So I just love, love, love this cushion foundation. So big fan, highly recommend. The other foundation I wanted to mention is the Macrame Actives Tinted Moisturizer. I had mentioned this tinted moisturizer, I think maybe in my last month's favorites, but I didn't have the right shade. So I originally purchased light, and that was too light for me. So I went ahead and I purchased medium, which is this one. And this one it's like a little too deep for me, but I would rather have a deeper foundation versus a lighter foundation. So I went with medium, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous foundation. I just love the way this makes my skin look as well. I don't think it does quite like the filtered kind of like softening effect as the Pkwy Cushion, but it really just makes my skin look really, really healthy. And this is one of those magical foundations that I feel like as the day goes on, my skin looks better, almost like I'm just putting on skincare, which is what their brand is. This Macrame Actives is really known for their skincare, and they have this and a concealer. I think those are their only two like color products. Anyway, I love this foundation. It is called a tinted moisturizer, but there is quite a bit of coverage. I mean, I would consider it a foundation. I think it even has a little bit more coverage than this Chantecaille. So it is the one that I reach for if I feel like I need a little bit more extra help. I've been loving this foundation as well. So that's the Macrame Actives. And then the third foundation I wanted to mention is one that I don't actually have because I had the wrong shade. I returned it and I have to order my correct shade, but I'm hoping, not like I can try anything in store now anyway, but I'm hoping maybe to get in store just to see them in real life. Anyway, I'm talking about the Clinique Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation. It has an SPF 25, I believe, and I was absolutely blown away by how much I liked this foundation. It is a foundation that definitely has a lot more coverage than either of the foundations that I just mentioned. It very easily has like a medium coverage. I want to say medium to full is the coverage of this foundation. And I thought it just looked so good on my skin. Usually foundations with more coverage, you know, I kind of associate things like dryness with them, cakiness, a mask-like appearance, but this foundation had none of that. I was really, really pleasantly surprised. I had very, very good luck with the Clinique Even Better Concealer. That was my 2020 favorite. So that's why I tried this foundation. I was like, let's give it a whirl. And it's beautiful. It really knocked my socks off. So I'm really excited to get the proper shade, and thank you guys so much. So many of you were like, oh, I'm a Clinique consultant, and this is the shade that I recommend for you. And I feel like there was a couple in there and they were all like number 1 something. So I definitely have a much better idea now. So thank you guys so much for your comments on that. But that foundation, I mean, if you're looking for something with fuller coverage, I would definitely give that one a shot. There is salicylic acid in it. It's pretty low on the ingredient list, and I have eczema prone skin. So I was definitely a little bit wary of it. It's probably not a foundation that I would wear every single day. But I have also noticed that as my skin gets older, it is definitely becoming more and more resilient. It's less sensitive to acids. I'm actually playing around with a serum that has lactic acid in there, which in the past, I've never really been able to use too much. But, you know, I've noticed that like, if I use something, let's say I don't know that something has it and I've been using it on my skin, so long as I don't use it day after day after day, you know, morning and night, it's fine. So as long as I give my skin just like a little bit of room to kind of, you know, breathe and like get back to its normal state, I'm pretty good with acids. It's actually, I'm like talking about it because I'm so surprised. But anyway, this foundation has a little bit of salicylic acid in there. So just FYI, if you are sensitive to it, you may want to stay away from this foundation. But I thought it looked really, really great on the skin. All right, so continuing with base products, we have a new concealer on the block, and this is another product, not that I'm surprised by how good it is because it's a Laura Mercier product, but I was shocked. I was like, whoa, this is gorgeous. So this is the new Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. And these are dual-ended crayons. They look just like her caviar sticks. They have like the same size to them. They have the same kind of like rounded tip to them. And originally they had sent me 3N, and 3N is like the perfect match for my skin tone, but I wanted something a little bit lighter and brighter for like my eye area. So they actually sent over 2N, and that's what I'm using today underneath my eyes and actually all around my eyes. So the brightened side is the side that I use, you know, around my eyes, and then the correct side is what I would use on my face. So I think if you're a similar skin tone to me and you kind of like a little bit of brightening, nothing too crazy, a little bit of brightening, and you want to be able to kind of conceal some spots that you may have on your face, I would go with 2N. If you really end up loving this product, and I have like no doubt that you will, you may want to get 3N as well, because the perfect combination is to use brighten 2N around the eyes and then the correct 3N on my face. So today I used the 2N to conceal like the two major like sunspots that I have here, and I don't think it did as good of a job as when I used 3N when I first used this product. in like a trying new makeup video, which I will link down below if you're interested in taking a look. But that's the first time I experienced the duo, and I really was blown away by its formula. So you just draw it on like a regular crayon, so super easy to use. And because it's a crayon, I thought for sure that it was going to be on the thicker side, that it was going to take, you know, a little bit of extra elbow grease to kind of blend it in, but it blends in like a dream. It blends in so quickly, and it is so weightless. It really is an incredible formula. I couldn't believe how much coverage there was, on top of it being very, very thin, weightless, and blending in like just super quickly. So I've been really, really impressed with this. And very rarely I feel like have I found one product that can conceal around my eyes and work to conceal on my face at the same time. Usually, if it works really well on my face, I find it too drying under my eyes, or, you know, vice versa. Like if it works under my eyes, I find that it's a little bit too emollient and maybe just not enough coverage for my face. So anyway, I just think that this is perfect for both, and I'm just so impressed with the formula of this product. All right, next up, I have a couple of cheek products that I wanted to mention, and what I do have on my face today is a bunch of NARS products. So I've been really enjoying this NARS Claudette Blush Duo, and they do call this a blush duo, so maybe these are both meant to be blushes, but I do like to use this as kind of a peachy based bronzer situation. And today I kind of used it just as kind of like a bronzer. I just kind of added it underneath my cheekbones here. And I just added it there, and then I blended it in with this blush just so it didn't look too streaky. And I love this combination. And both of these products, you know, when I finger swatched them, they really didn't finger swatch very well on my hand. I thought, oof, you know, there's not a lot of pigmentation. But for some reason, when I use a brush and I apply it that way, plenty of pigmentation. I feel like I don't need a lot of this. I do have another cheek color down right on the apples of my cheeks, but this is the color that you see just on like the entirety of my cheek. And it's a really beautiful formula. You know, there's no overt shimmer to it, but it definitely has like a really pretty sheen. It's very airbrush looking. It's very soft. It's easy to apply. Like you don't pick up a ton of product on your brush. You can build it up slowly. So I really enjoy this product. I've just been reaching for it. It's just a really nice kind of like neutral product. I don't feel like this is too peach or too pink. And this is very natural on my skin tone. So I've really been enjoying this, the NARS Air Matte Blush. Now, I don't generally like matte blushes, so I got one color and I thought, well, we'll just give it a shot. I am a sucker for things that come in little pots. So when I first used this, I was pretty intrigued by how the formula felt, how the product actually felt in the hand, because it had like a very kind of light, almost like moussey whipped texture. And I thought for something that's supposed to be matte, I thought that was interesting. You know, I thought it was going to feel just a little bit more dry. And it didn't. And when it goes on, so this is what I added onto the apples of my cheeks. It just goes on like completely like cotton candy, like a little powder puff, a little cotton ball of color. It's so, so pretty. And it's matte in that way. It's not matte in a very overly kind of like dry, you know, flat looking way. It's matte in that it looks like it's just kind of dusted onto your cheeks. And I love it. I love it. I have to figure out what other shades I want, but this one is in Darling, and it's just like the perfect, like bright kind of pick me up for your cheeks. It comes out a lot more sheer, obviously, on the cheeks than it does, you know, in the pot, but it can be buildable. I mean, I don't think you'll ever get to a blush color quite this bright, but you can build it up a little bit. But I just kind of like tapping this onto the apples of my cheeks pretty much with any blush that I've been using, and it just adds like a little poof, almost like someone just like blew some pigment right onto like the apples of your cheeks. It's just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So I've been loving the NARS Air Matte Blush in Darling. The other blush product that I've been loving is this Chanel Duo. It's just beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. And this is, you know, I will link to all the videos that I'm kind of referencing in this video down below in my description box. So definitely check them out. But I did, you know, a video about Chanel's new products, and I was, well, first I thought that this was going to be a blush also, but this ends up being a highlight, and it's, I mean, it's so beautiful on the face. This blush is great. And actually the NARS Darling works really well with this blush too. So when I brush this on, occasionally I'll just kind of tap a little bit more of this onto the apples of my cheeks. Anyway, this is gorgeous. It's stunning. It's a baked gelée formula, so you can build up the product. It just has just a beautiful sheen to it. The highlight is incredibly, incredibly bright, and it just, you know, blends right into this blush. Oh, just perfectly. I love the way my cheeks look when I use this duo. So anyway, had to mention this Chanel blush and highlighter duo. And then another highlight that I have been reaching for. So the Chanel one has, as you could probably tell, has a pretty strong like pinky peach tone to it. So if I don't really want that tone, I want just something a little bit more of like a champagne, I have been using the Vesca, and I think I mentioned this, I'm sure I mentioned this actually in my last month's favorite, so maybe the month before, but I've been reaching for the shade Moonlight. And this is just gorgeous. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous formula. It has like a really bright application, and it is what I have on my cheeks today. It's really bright. It's really shiny. It's really metallic, but it's not that thick or opaque kind of shine. Like the Ofra highlights, oh my gosh, like super bright shine, but that formula is a little bit thicker. So I feel like if you don't get a perfect match to your skin tone, it is a very kind of obvious sort of highlight. And this one has a sheerness to it. I feel like it's just as bright, but it's a little bit more sheer. So, you know, your natural skin kind of like shines through, and it's just stunning. It's like this kind of like gauzy ribbon, just sort of like laid over your cheek. And I just think it's so, so gorgeous. All right, just a couple of eye things. I was actually surprised. I was like, did I not, what did I get this this past month? You know, I looked back on my videos and I looked back, you know, my collection, and there weren't any like super, super standout palettes per se, but one eyeshadow that has stood out and that I've used probably straight for like the past week is this Ritual Defy Amber and Soot eye color in the shade Golden Age, and that is what I have on my eyes. And I feel like this has turned into like my fall winter option for the Westman Atelier, like her little iPods, because I was reaching for that like nonstop during the summertime. And this is, yeah, just something I've been reaching for. It's just a one and done shadow. It's all that I have on my eyes. And I just think it's really easy to use. You just unscrew the top. It does have a fairly small opening there, but I can stick my ring finger in there very easily. I can tap that on with my finger, or you can use, which, oh, is all the way over there. Well, it's the Westman Atelier Baby Blender brush. It's a brush that I've talked about a lot, especially when it came to her iPods, but it works really well with this eye soot as well. And you can definitely use your finger. That's how I've been using it generally, and you just kind of tap. But because this is a little bit of a drier formula, actually much drier than like the Charlotte Tilbury, the Tom Ford potted ones, it's different from the Westman Atelier iPods. It's actually probably the most similar to the Chantecaille mermaid eye colors, the ones that come in the little pot. It's probably closest to that, although I think this is even like a teensy bit drier than the Chantecaille. In any case, the point I'm trying to make is this formula is on the drier side. So when you use your finger, you kind of have to like actually move it around. You're not just kind of like tapping it to blend it out. You really kind of have to like move it around. And it's not a problem. It's just something that I've realized I have to do when I'm working with this. And so a brush can come in really, really handy. And so the Westman Baby Blender is great because it's like that perfect dome shaped. It fits right in here if you want to pick it up. I like picking it up with my finger, applying it, and then taking the brush and just kind of blending it out. But I just think these are so easy to use, probably because they are on the drier side. They kind of stay put until you move them. And it's great. And this color, Golden Age, I really, really enjoy. I think it's just such a great one and done shade. So that is the Ritual de Fille Eye Soot in Golden Age. And Ritual de Fille is one of those clean beauty brands. So you can find them at like Credo and other kind of like clean beauty retailers. So I'll link them down below in any case, but really been loving it. Loving it. And then the only other eye thing I wanted to mention is the new, I believe this is limited edition. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but you will be able to see on the website whether or not it's limited edition. But this is the Chanel Le Volume de Chanel in the special spring 2021 color 120. I think it's metal terracotta. And I used it for the first time in that Chanel video, like when I talked about the blush and highlighter duo. And I wasn't, quite sure, because, when I'm sitting under these lights, my eyes can play tricks on me. I wasn't quite sure if you could see the actual color of the mascara, and I do have it on today. And so many of you commented like, oh, can totally see it, looks so pretty, getting one myself. And I was so happy to know that you could see it because, I could see it, but I didn't know if it was because I was just sitting up close and kind of just staring at myself. I knew what I was looking for, but it really is such a nice alternative to black. Obviously, it is a dark color. So it does accent your lashes in a really nice way. The formula of the Le Volume de Chanel is the same formula despite the color difference. And I just feel like it looks a little bit softer. It's like using brown mascara or brown eyeliner versus black eyeliner. It just has a nice kind of like softer appearance. But because this has like a little bit of a metallic finish, it's really different. It's really different without being like, I'm wearing like green mascara. It's just different in a very subtle way. And I love it. So I've been reaching for this. And because I generally wear a lot of like taupes and, as you guys know, metallic taupes and like browns and bronzes and stuff, this has just been like the perfect pairing for all of that. So I've been loving this mascara. All right. And then in terms of lips, I really only have, well, I have two things to mention, but the first thing I want to mention are these Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lip liners. I'm sure you guys could have guessed that I was going to be talking about these, but I got 4 of the colors, and I have been going through all 4 of them, just kind of back and forth and back and forth. I love all of the colors. I generally have not a hard time finding nudes, because usually if I have a nude lip liner, it's nice, it's fine, but I really, really like a cool toned nude. And most of the nude lip liners that I have, there's a little bit of warmth to them. Like when I find a nude that looks nice in the pencil, once I get it on, I always feel like it looks a little bit peachier than I thought. And when I tried these were probably the first lip liners I ever tried that when I actually applied them, they looked cooler on my lips than they did actually in the pencil. So I just was so thrilled with that. So today I am wearing Dana, and Dana's number N83. So it is a neutral shade, but I also have Naya, which is NB4, Julia, which is NP3, and then I have Noah, which is N82. And like I said, I love all the colors so much. I was thinking about getting, I think there's 8 altogether. I'm thinking about getting the other 4 because I just love these nude shades so much. But the other thing I love about them is that they are a creamy enough formula that I can use it like all over my lips. And they definitely do start to feel a little bit dry. I mean, they are a lip liner, but they definitely are long lasting. So what I will do is line my lips with it and then color it in most of the way. I just won't put it like all the way onto my lips, because when that dries down, it just feels like really, really dry. So what I'll do is kind of leave like the center of my lips kind of blank, and then I throw on the Ilia lip wrap hydrating mask. And I just kind of use this as a lip balm, even though it is marketed as a mask. I just kind of use it as a lip balm. And what I'll do is I'll just put some and like kind of just focus it right like in the center there, top and bottom. And then I just smush my lips together. And it's perfect because I was using different glosses to try and make it a little bit less dry, but then it completely kind of took away from the long wearing aspect of it. And it would also kind of take away from I don't know, like the grungy look of it. And so I found that this combination has really just been perfect. There's like no tint to this or whatever. It's very, very comfortable, but it's not a gloss, you know, so it's not gonna add like too much shine or any kind of shimmer or anything like that. So yeah, I've just been loving this combination, but these lip liners are so, so good. If you are looking for like a grungy, cool toned kind of like nude lip situation, I would definitely look at these. They're just so comfortable going on. They glide on, they don't tug, they don't drag, I mean, nothing. And they just stay put. Once they set down, they just stay put. And if you have dry lips like me, I mean, you can prep them with something like this, or like I said, just kind of add a little bit on afterwards, and my lips feel fine, but they don't look like glossy, you know? So those are all of the lip products I wanted to mention, and I just wanted to finish this video off. You know, of course, I say this every time I do a favorites video. I could go on and on and on, but I did just want to mention 2 scents that I have been just really, really enjoying. And the first one is the Christian Louboutin, the Louboutin fragrance. And I just was really, really taken by the joyfulness of this scent. And I know that's a really strong word to describe a perfume, but it does have kind of like a warm base, but there are notes of strawberry in there. And I mentioned this when I talked about it in the video where I mentioned it for the first time to you guys. And you definitely smell the strawberry as soon as you spray the fragrance, but it is also like the longest kind of fragrance. I mean, you can smell all the notes in there, but usually I feel like when they add a fruit into a fragrance, it usually dissipates a little bit more quickly than, let's say, the musk or the patchouli or any of the other kind of like base notes they always kind of throw into fragrances. And the strawberry sort of comes in later and just sort of like lasts, and it's just so much fun because the strawberry adds just that little bit of joy, that little bit of joyfulness to this cologne, and it's what makes it, I think, also just a little bit different from your typical kind of like musky sandalwood sort of base fragrances. So I've just really been loving this, and I get a smile every single time I walk into this room. I just sort of have it sitting somewhere. It's either on my vanity or on my table where I do my makeup in front of my window, or like back behind me on my vanity. But every time I see this bottle and that little cat holding those Louboutin lipsticks, it just gives me so much joy. So I've been just really enjoying this fragrance. And another scent that I wanted to mention is this Harmonist Hypnotizing Fire. I was lucky enough to be sent this candle by the Harmonist, and it is a warm, very, very sensual fragrance. And I do not use that term lightly. It really is. I feel like it is sexual tension, like distilled into a fragrance. I love this so much that I went and purchased the actual fragrance. So that hasn't come yet, but I usually like different scents for home fragrance and a different scent for myself, for like an actual perfume. So perfumes are perfumes and like home scents are home scents. Very rarely do I like one scent for both or for everything. And I'm just so in love with this scent that I had to get it in a fragrance. So if they come out with this like as a body wash or body lotion, I'm getting that too. This is so incredible. And it's such a departure from my typical love of like light citrus, white flower kind of scents. I usually like scents that I like to describe them. They're kind of green or they're kind of yellow, orange, like in that family. This is like a molten kind of like brick red, golden brown kind of scent. Oh my God. I hope that makes sense. I'm terrible at describing fragrances. But before I go on and on about what this conjures up for me, let me read to you the description so you get a sense of the actual like notes in here. So Hypnotizing Fire is a seductive fragrance that nurtures the wearer like a gentle flame. The mellow sensuality, oh wow, I swear I did not read this description before I described it to you, but the mellow sensuality of Madagascan vanilla and benzoin Benzoin, is enriched by the subtle notes of Bulgarian rose, Indonesian patchouli, and pimento berries harvested under the Jamaican sun. Warm and glowing, it's an enchanting yin scent that revives and restores. So the Harmonist, they have like a yin and yang collection. So this is part of their yin collection, and I cannot wait, cannot wait to get this perfume. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. And like I said, it's so different for me, and I'm just so taken by it. So those are my January favorites. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please let me know what some of your recent favorites have been down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.